I was going to introduce myself, but I think everyone here already knows who I am, so we don't have to do that. That's fun.
Hey, I still want to hear all about you, Heather. Come on.
I was literally just going to say, like, Jackie's my team leader, and she wanted me to do this.
Whatever.
No, but, I mean, you seriously, from the moment that I started, this is kind of, I've gone through this, like everything that I'm going to go over. So it is kind of a personal breakthrough and stuff for me. So it is kind of awesome for me to be able to do this and talk to everybody else in case they go through the same thing, or as sponsors, if your recruits go through the same thing. So I did make a little Prezi thing. So I'm going to try to do that so we can look at it.
Sweet.
Oh, it might already be. Do this. Yeah, can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. See, I told you I practiced this earlier by myself. Can I make it so I can see you guys still?
I don't. Do you not see us still on the side?
I can see you, but when I blow it up big, I can't. It's okay.
I'm not sure.
So I titled this Becoming the Best of You and What You Can Do with Your Usborne Business and How. So this is kind of about, when you're starting your business and you do your launch party, a lot of people do have the ability to contact their friends and families, and they get their launch parties pretty successful. And I personally didn't have that. I actually didn't have my launch party for like 3 months after I started. So, and I also struggled with getting a lot of friends and family involved. So I had to take a whole other different route to get my business up and running. So this is kind of some of the tactics that I took and things that I did to get past that and through that hardship, in case anybody else goes through the same thing or is going through the same thing right now. So this is kind of just the topics of conversation, understanding and planning for certain times of the year, using an event tracker, and utilizing your business fully. So I'll go over each one of them just individually. So this one I've talked about on a couple of our pages when I've heard people having issues, and I don't know if everybody has really seen it, about the highs and lows of a year. And I know that in a lot of your videos, Jackie, or like the team meetings, you have talked about it. Like in January, you said, this is a really tough time of year. January is hard, but you guys are doing awesome. That's one thing that has kind of helped me get through, is understanding the highs and lows of the business. Like, you can't really expect it to always be great and awesome sales. I have kept track of as far as how my business has gone. Now everybody else's might be different, so it could be a good tactic for you to use as far as keeping a tracker of what months you have done the best in and what months are tough for you. Like July has been really tough, but I've also heard that it has been for a lot of people. And back to school and get ready for the holidays is awesome for us. Everybody does great with parties and sales. And then like after Christmas in January seems to be one of the lower times of the year. And then of course, tax return season is awesome. I think I did the best that I've ever done during tax return season. And then we get back into summer again. So it's kind of like a cyclical thing of understanding what months are good and what months are bad. And start understanding that, you can start planning for them. Like next year for the summer, I can plan to have a big blowout Christmas and July party where I have like rewards already set up to have a Secret Santa, because I know that July is going to be tough for me. So that's just a tactic, I guess, that I wanted to share that maybe it would be helpful for some people. And setting goals and being creative. I know in all of our trainings and stuff, it's always talked about trying to set goals. And even when you sign up for the company, they're really big on setting goals. But I think hearing somebody like personally tell you that goals setting those specific goals are like, they could make you or break you. And understanding, even though you set small goals throughout your business, like, hey, I want to reach $1,000 in July. If you don't reach $1,000 in July, try to always remember what your first initial goal was. Like, what was your goal when you signed up? What did you sign up for? Because that's always going to be what gets you through. You may not have made your sales in the month that you wanted to, but remembering what your goal was. Like, I signed up because, I wanted to help, Jackie, yours was like pay off the mortgage for your house or something like that. So always remembering what the beginning was for, it'll help you get through the successes and the failures or setbacks of smaller goals. Also, so recreating what has worked kind of goes along with the highs and lows parts. Like, if you've done a party and it did awesome, take the time, maybe go back through that party that you already had and find out what it was that worked and what was different than maybe a party that didn't do so well. Was there different wording that you used in the message you sent out? What was your population like? What did you show, more videos or more graphics? It's like, you don't want to stick with the same thing that you're doing if it's not working. And if it is working, recreate what did work and keep using it until it doesn't work, and then go back again and revisit, what was different or what happened, and let me like recreate something else different. So kind of just get you through the beginning, and it's like an overview of what you can use at the beginning of your business, and also to review back on, once you've already been in the company for a couple of years. And sometimes it's really good to go back and see like how you started and what has gotten you through before when you come to tough times. And that's what this next part is. Oh, it zooms in again. That's awesome. The next part is when frustration kicks in. So this was something more, I don't know if Jess is on the call or not, because this was something to help her out a little bit. I see, there's Cassie. And everybody else, and Jackie's falling asleep over there. So when frustration kicks in, I have here refocus and goals. So I already kind of talked about the goals there. Refocused Techniques. I actually recently watched a video, and it was really awesome because it talked about something that I used to study in college. When you experience a failure, it's okay, or not even just a failure, but like a setback. It's okay to feel frustrated and to get upset, and let yourself feel the emotions that you need to feel. And then you need to refocus and move forward. And that's simply stated. It was a longer training, but certain things work for different people for refocusing techniques. Like, one of them is to go back and figure out why you started this company and what your main goal is, and then it's easy enough and you just get back on track. Some people need to feel the emotions and maybe talk to one other person and tell them your frustrations, and then you feel better because you finally got them out and you can restart again. Some people need like a whole new brand new day. You just, drop your business, stop looking at things for the day, and restart again tomorrow. But finding out what your refocus technique is, or what it could be, is really helpful, so that you don't like drag along, for a couple days or a week, and then before you know it, the month's almost over and you haven't hit your goals and you haven't had your parties and things like that. And it's something that I've used and it's been really helpful. The direct emotions I kind of just talked about, like, feel the emotion and be frustrated, and it takes practice. It's very hard to be frustrated and not meet your goals and get 200 no's and struggle with parties, but it is possible. Let yourself feel that way and move forward. And self-talk. See, I'm kind of like talking about all of these things in one explanation. Self-talk is actually a big thing I've seen a lot on our Facebook pages, so I wanted to bring it up. where people are expressing their frustrations on like the big team pages and saying like, you know, I haven't had any sales this month. I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I can meet my goals. You know, this has been really hard and I don't know if I can do this. And that is a form of self-talk, and it's debilitating, I guess you would say, because there are other ways of thinking of it. Again, like let yourself be frustrated, but then say like, all right, what can I do next? What's going to be helpful? What can I try differently? So like you see the difference between trying to be more positive and having a different approach rather than saying like, I can't do this and I don't know if I can. And this is all stuff that's going to help yourself, but you can also use as a sponsor when your recruits start saying that, like they first started their business and, you know, their launch party it didn't go well. And they're like, oh, I just signed up and like, I already suck. I don't know what I'm going to do. So they've already started I don't think I can do this and I don't know what to do. So you can have use a couple of these tactics and come up with some self-talk, like quotes or phrases or something that works for you that you use on yourself and use on your recruits, or even if you're a team leader on your team. And then you go into like this, if you're a sponsor, the wording on do's and don'ts. So you bring in that like self-talk when they're saying, I don't think I can do this, and you help them rephrase that and say it more positively and do it differently. And I think one thing that we often do is we try to empathize with our team members and our recruits and our sponsors and stuff by saying, yeah, you know, shipping has sucked and it really does suck. And you're trying to empathize with them to somewhat make them feel better, but it doesn't always work that way because now you're like feeding a fire. So personally for me, one of the don'ts is don't worry as much about empathy and trying to feed into what their like complaints are. Just like let them say what they need to say, because that's how I work. Like I just need to get it out and then I'm good and I can go. So I let them say what they need to say. And then like now we're on track. Like let's figure out what we can do. So switching the verbiage. I don't think I can do this. Well, I think you can. What can we do differently? And that's another thing of one of the do's is using wording like we and like, let's do this together. What can we figure out? How can I help you? Can the team help you in any way? Like just start talking about them and looking forward and being productive with what their emotion is and try to get them moving forward with their business, if that makes sense, hopefully to everybody. This events tracker, so this is something I started, so I wanted to share. This is for like booths and events and things that you do if you get involved on any of like the pages online and stuff. Make sure, or I use a list. I just write it down on a piece of paper because I'm like old school and I'm not really good with technology yet. So I write down a piece of paper what day it was, like what month it was and what the event was and who the host was for the event. And if, you know, what the sales were, or if I liked it or if it was horrible. And then in the future, you already you have a tracker now of what was successful for you and what wasn't, and what you liked and what you didn't like, and what worked out for you and what didn't work out for you. And you can also do that for, what was I going to say? For like home parties and Facebook parties, I'm definitely a list maker. So this has worked very well. And you can also use it for doing the highs and lows of that year, like I talked about earlier. If you have an event tracker of, you know, I did these events last year in September, and I noticed that my Facebook party sales were really bad in September. Let me try to figure out, like, I liked this event. It did really well. So why don't I do booths in September rather than focusing on my Facebook parties? So that way you have something to look back on and you have a tracker of what has gone well for you and what hasn't. And it's going to help you move forward that way. And recreating what has worked. I already talked about that for Facebook parties. Like, go back, read your party, see what you did differently and why one party worked and one didn't. And you could actually, what's really helpful is have one of your teammates or your recruit or sponsor be like, hey, can I invite you to a party that I had, last month, and let me know what you think. And this last bit here, utilizing your business fully, we have a lot of trainings on this, and I know Jackie has done it numerous times, but I just want to I can't emphasize enough on this because, again, I started and I didn't have friends and family that were very supportive, so I had to immediately start moving on to the different options of Usborne that we have. So I did a Cards for a Cause fundraiser very near the beginning of starting, and I've done a book drive already. I've tried a coloring party. I've done an inventory sale. All of the options that we have that I think when people start out, even though in the numerous amounts of things that we get to begin our business that you have to read in the trainings you go through, I think it gets slipped in the back of our mind, all of those great things that Usborne does have that's outside of Facebook parties and home parties. So when frustration kicks in and my sales aren't doing very well, my Facebook parties aren't working, my friends aren't helping me, so let's move on to the next thing. Have you done a fundraiser? Have you done a book drive? Have you tried a website sale? But the fun thing is that, like I have listed here, it says options and more options, and then create more options, because it seems to me it's like there's an endless amounts of things you can do. And I think that I like to say I have somewhat of a creative mind, so I find that fun. And I know a lot of people don't have necessarily the amount of creativity all the time, so which is great why we have teams that we can talk with each other. But I've found so many things. Like, I did a Cards for a Cause fundraiser, and it's just 15 boxes, and I got those 15 boxes sold. But something happened, and I ended up ordering Cards for a Cause boxes for myself, so I can sell them individually rather than doing a fundraiser. Like, it's another option. You can order them yourself and then sell them individually, so people don't feel like they have to always do a fundraiser. Like, there's two options right there with just one thing that Usborne has to offer. And doing themed parties and mystery hostess parties. I was just telling Cassie the other day, she was asking me about if I've ever done a theme party, or there was somebody that was interested in doing something different. And I was like, what would be cool is if we did a royal Facebook party where the hostess is named like the royal queen, and everybody introduces themselves with a royal introduction. And you could come up with a game that would be like, what would you bring to the royal feast? Like, I don't know. It seems to me that it is endless possibilities of fun and great things you can do, and just be creative with it all. I did a gift certificate party where I contacted husbands and said, hey, why don't you, this is an option. You buy a gift certificate to Usborne for your wife and your child, and now you've been proactive and you're giving them something that they never expected. And hey, A+ for a husband, and then your wife is shopping with a budget, so she's not spending $100. She's spending what you already gave her, and you gave it to her as a gift. So I just wanted to throw some of those ideas out there, because I know we all know what we can do. We can do book drives and we can do Cards for a Cause, but it doesn't end there. There's so many more things that you can do with those specific things. And when you find out where your highs and lows are in your year, then you can, plug and play. My Facebook parties aren't really good in February, so where can I plug and play something really fun and creative, or something that I haven't done, and try something new? And I think that's what's going to help a lot of people when they feel like they're struggling, and when they start getting frustrated and sales aren't good. Let's just try to figure something else out, and utilize Usborne for everything that it's worth. So that's everything that I have to say on that. And I talked a lot, but so everybody.
Just unmuting myself.
There we go.
That was awesome, Heather. I loved your reminder on all the different creative things we could do. I was actually woke up in my sleep last night and I was like, I want to do an 80s party. How fun would that be? So there you go, another fun idea.
That would be awesome. And you could do like I just did an ugly sweater contest. You could do like an 80s outfit contest or something. That'd be really
and like the 80s hairdo, which 80s hairdo would you want to sport? And I mean, you could go all out. 80s song list for the party. Yeah.
nice.
Be awesome. No, but I really did like your reminder on self-talk, and we really do have control. We really do have control over what our destiny, I guess, really. Like, our mind has so much control, and I strongly believe that.
Yeah.
And it's so important as to what we feed ourselves every day.
But it doesn't come natural. That it takes practice to be able to do that. But it's also it becomes difficult when you have people under you and you kind of don't know how to respond to them because you never really learned how to respond to yourself first.
It's true. It's a good reminder. Thank you. You rock.
You ladies, anyone have any questions or like comments about anything that was said? Just like a thumbs up if we're good. All right.
Yeah.